Hello children. Today we are going to start with the behavioral techniques. We have a couple of them. We'll do a few, of course, in today's recording, and the rest maybe we can do it in the next recording. Firstly, let's understand that these behavioral techniques are meant for bringing about a change in the behavior of the client, and basically they are used because we need to reduce the arousal level, of the client, and how possibly through these behavioral techniques we can really alter, the behavior of the client. And the two very important and the major behavioral techniques used are, of course, one is the negative reinforcement, and the other one is the aversive conditioning. We'll try and do at least four to five of them today in the recording. So to begin with, we have the very first one, which is the negative reinforcement. So what is this negative reinforcement? When we hear this term negative reinforcement, we actually try and link it with the so-called punishments, but this is not really the case. So negative reinforcement is nothing but, the responses, that are going to lead the individuals, ultimately to be able to get rid of the very painful stimuli, or try and avoid something, or maybe try and escape from it, and these responses which they make are but the negative reinforcement, and of course, if we see, for instance, like if we just talk about an example, so we know that how when we do have extreme winters, so we tend to wear something very warm, or maybe we'll use electric heaters. So why are we doing all this? Because we need to escape, or we need to kind of avoid the extreme winters. So this response that I'm making to put on woolen clothes, or to switch on the heater, or to keep myself warm, or wear extra clothes, this is what is negative reinforcement, and also maybe like how sometimes we see the drivers, and we see a lot of people who tend to wear their seat belts, because with an intent that they don't want to get injured, and or maybe they don't want to meet with an accident, or untimely accident, or maybe they don't want to get fined. So to avoid such instances, to avoid certain circumstances, they they make a response, and that response is the negative reinforcement, so negative reinforcement essentially is not punishment, because when we talk about punishment, when we make use of punishment, it tends to reduce, or it tends to suppress the response, but when we talk about negative reinforcers, they are increasing the probability of escapism, they are increasing the probability of avoidance response, or so to say, the escape response. So, yeah, so essentially, I really cannot, equalize negative reinforcement to punishment, because they are entirely different. But yeah, my responses where I'm making to, in a way, get rid of something that's very unpleasant, something that's painful, something that I really want to avoid. So I do make a response in that context. So that is negative reinforcement. Coming to, of course, the aversive conditioning, very important. We'll go to the next slide, which talks about the aversive conditioning. So here we have the aversive conditioning, and if we see aversive conditioning, it is basically the repetitive association of undesired response with an aversive consequence. So, of course, the response which is made of that is something which nobody would desire, and it's combined with something that's absolutely aversive, and so what, for instance, if there is an alcoholic person, so the alcoholic person will be given a, mild electric shock, and right after the mild electric shock he would be asked to, smell the alcohol. So there is, you see a combination of first the shock, and then he gets to smell the alcohol. So of course smell of the alcohol becomes the aversive consequence, and the undesired response, is the mild electric shock. So when they are combined together, of course what's going to happen is that, ultimately the person is going to give up alcohol, because just after the shock, when you get to smell the alcohol, you just feel so, like pukey. You have this feeling of nausea, and then you probably don't want to take it up again. So this is what happens in the aversive conditioning. So moving ahead, we have the next one, which is the, um, the positive reinforcement. So when we actually hear the term positive reinforcement, some of the positive reinforcers are, like it could include food, water, medals, praise, money, status, information, and so on and so forth. So this is something which is very simple, and we have heard of this a couple of times. So positive reinforcement, if we see, it actually, in a way, is going to definitely, they satisfy our needs. These positive reinforcers definitely they satisfy our needs, and they are given to increase the deficit, and probably whatever that little is missing, I want to give that little missing in you a little push. So for that, maybe I'll give you a positive reinforcer. So for instance, the child has not been doing his homework regularly, so the mother says that, if you do your homework timely and regularly, so I'm going to make your favorite dish, so, or maybe I'm going to give you a chocolate, or maybe I'm going to take you out for an outing, or maybe I'm going to put up your favorite movie or something. So then of course it's going to give a push to the child to start working on that little something where, he probably wasn't taking his homework very seriously, and now he'll start completing his homework, quickly, so that he can enjoy all these kind of, the benefits, or so to say, these promises made by his mom. Then of course we have the next, which is, about, regarding the token economy, and it is the differential reinforcement. So coming to the token economy, so token economy essentially is where, for every good behavior, for exhibiting a good behavior, the child is given a token, you know and then of course these tokens are collected, and after being collected at a certain point, they can be exchanged for a reward, and that is what is token economy. So quite interesting. And so people who have a lot of behavioral problems, generally they are, uh, a part of this behavioral technique, which is the token economy, where they are given a reward every time they exhibit a wanted or um, good behavior. And when a lot of these tokens are collected, they are exchanged for a reward, which can be anything, and then coming to, of course, the differential reinforcement. In the differential reinforcement, if you see children, we do have both the reinforcements working together. The positive reinforcement is working for, of course, the wanted behavior, to encourage the wanted behavior, and the negative reinforcement is to, in a way, put a full stop, or to completely get rid of the unwanted behavior. So in the differential reinforcement, both the reinforcements are playing a major role. And so of course, one side you are going to give a push to the wanted behavior, and on the other side you're trying to ignore or probably completely get rid of the unwanted behavior. So for instance, if we see a girl who is, who tends to grumble too much or has got a very complaining attitude. She trips too much, so she's, has this habit to kind of sulk time and again, and she cries, too much on small little things. And but at the same time, she's fond of watching movies. So parents at times they do this, that we'll take you for the movie, or we'll take you out for an outing, or we'll buy you your favorite gift only when you stop sulking, only when you stop crying. And they tend to practice this time and again. And you know then of course we do see that how, you know like, over the period of time, maybe, there will be a change also that can be witnessed. Of course, like the parent is always instructed, to take the child to the cinema, if she doesn't cry and sulk, but to really become very very stern and determined to not to take her if she continues to sulk and cry. And also, like, parents are instructed many a times to give it a big ignore if the child has been crying or sulking too much, because at times when we give too much heed to the children, they can take their parents for a ride, they take them for granted. So the wanted behavior of really, like really being extremely polite and soft spoken is of course, going to increase eventually. And this unwanted behavior to constantly sulk and cry and to crib and grumble is going to come down, it's going to decrease. So this is what happens in the differential reinforcement, where both the reinforcements are working, together, the simultaneously. And we talked about the token economy, we talked about the negative and the positive reinforcement, we also talked about the aversive conditioning. So we'll continue with the remaining two in the next audio video. Thank you so much.